Alright, y'all, what is going on? This is your man L Jamal, and today I got something a little bit different for you guys. Today I got a segment called I'm gonna blow this motherfucker up. This is basically my version of Mythbusters. I'm gonna take some uh, false narratives, false history, alternate facts, and in this segment I'm gonna be breaking it all down, blowing it up, dissecting it, and we're gonna be correcting these things, and I'm gonna be giving you guys the reasons to why this is wrong and why, in sometimes in certain cases, especially with this one today, sometimes a dangerous way of thinking. Now, recently I've come across through social media. This is a few times I've come across this quote. Well, it's a supposed quote by Hitler. In this quote, he's supposedly talking to this soldier, and he's telling the soldier why he's going to start the Third World War. And he begins to describe how he was fighting against the real problem, the real threat, which was, of course, the Jews. Well, the Jews as we know them, the Zionists and other groups, so on and so forth that you hear today. And he was also referring to protecting or understanding that the real Jews were the black people in America, and how the Americans had enslaved them and stole them away, and that God was going to get some type of retribution, or that he was the retribution coming from God. Now, as far as the black Israelite and black Jew conversation, I'm going to have that discussion later. I'm not into getting into that right now. I want to get into this quote per se and who it came from and why it doesn't exist. And disclaimer, it doesn't. It was never written. It's already been proven as a false quote. So all you guys posting it online, you're come on, come on, man. But I can see why people are doing it. And for those of you black and white or non black in general, for those of you who do not know, there is a movement, and has been a movement amongst a good section of the black population of a black Hebrew Muslim, or sorry, Hebrew Israelite movement. I don't know why I put Muslim in there, don't get confused, but black Hebrew Israelite, all that type of jargon, and that's a new movement, okay? Well, it's not necessarily a new movement, but it's a movement. Now, I'm not here to talk about, the validity of that or if it's right or wrong. I'm not here to talk about my opinion about that today. But again, because of that belief system that's been cropping up lately, I believe that will lead to the defense of this quote or the sharing of this quote. And you should hear some of the comments that people have about this quote. Oh, this is the truth. I know he wrote this. I know he's no, he didn't. Stop lying to promote your narrative. That was one thing I will say. Don't promote lies to promote your agenda. That's one thing I cannot allow. That's one thing I can't stand for. I think this is a quote that I came across a while back, and it really stuck with me. Your comfort is not more important than the truth if the lie is weaponized to hurt people. So keep that in mind. But let's talk about, of course, why this quote doesn't work. We're going to talk about it from a historical standpoint, meaning German colonization of Africa, which did occur from 1682, starting back all the way in 1682 and continuing until 1919. Then we're going to be talking about the Nazi Party itself, just kind of what they believed in and their treatment of blacks in Germany. And also, we're going to be talking about the neo-Nazi presence today, all in an attempt to get you guys to realize this is not. We don't make stuff up here. If you guys want to drill me with all your biblical quotes and your scripture knowledge about that and try to convince me there, by all means, please, yes. But don't ever in your life, ever, ever in your life try to quote Hitler on me. I'm not gonna have it. We can discuss your scripture all day. I can go back and forth with you about what happened in history. You can hit me up with. We can have a great debate on that. Matter of fact, I think we should have the black theologians talk about this. I want a black Muslim leader, a black Christian leader, and a black Hebrew leader to sit back and really talk about what they believe their truths to be. But that's neither here or there. But I think that'll be an interesting discussion. But today, I'm going to be breaking down the bullshit that is this quote this quote unquote revelation by Adolf Hitler. Of course, I'll be sharing it with you here visually in just a little bit. But back to this German colonization of Africa, yes, which I said existed. They can control parts of what is Somalia, Chad, Gabon, Ghana, Kenya, Mozambique, Nigeria, the Cameroon, Namibia, Rwanda, and also parts of Tanzania, and also, yeah, Burundi, Burundi as well. So, and also they exploited the native population for their coffee beans, rubber, cotton, as well as in an attempt to, well, basically they ran plantations. So it was no different. It was still slavery. They, on the surface, the Europeans and the Germans included, wanted to curtail the Arab slave trade, and that was supposed to sound good at the time, but it was only to increase their their enlistment of a free labor force themselves. So don't believe the hype there. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the massacre that occurred in 1904. Now, this is when Lieutenant General Lothar von Trotha and 14,000 German troops carried out the killings of 3,000 native Hereros. They stabbed them and shot them. Thousands were forced to flee into the Kalahari Desert, where soldiers were instructed to poison watering holes and protect them through force. Many would die, and those that survived were buried in piles and burned along with the dead. But I thought we were important. We were the Jews. We were the jewels of the earth. Oh, I get it. This was 1904. Hitler hadn't come to prominence yet. He didn't have the secrets for Germany to understand that. He wasn't around to tell them that yet, right? Let me guess. And let's also talk about the borders of these countries that I mentioned before: Rwanda, Cameroon, so on and so forth. These borders pit up people from different tribes, different cultures, and created mass controversy, mass violence. Do you know about the movie Hotel Rwanda? Anybody who's seen that movie, that is based off of the violence between the Hutsis and the Tutsis and the I can't remember the other name right now. It's definitely not Zulu, but it's the Hutu and the Tutsi, I believe. And those groups and those violent occurrences and those clashes were appearing because you had groups of people who culturally, historically never got along being forced to live together in the same boundaries because that's what some outside force did. But again, let's say Hitler wasn't around yet. He wasn't around to convince the people or to let the world know that we were the true people, right? Right? Let's talk about the original concentration camps in the German South Africa territory, German East Africa, West Africa territory. The most notorious being Shark Island, with a 90% death rate on par with Auschwitz, on par with Dachau. But again, Hitler wasn't around to let them know, He was still in, 1904? He's just coming of age. Maybe he's in high school right now. He's not around yet. His brilliant mind, his open mind wasn't cultivated yet to help the Germans and to get them to see that they were doing wrong, right? Right. There was an 80% reduction of tribal populations by 1911. Up to 100,000 people between the Hereros and also, I believe it was the Hara people, executed, killed, placed in concentration camps, similar to what they did to the Jews of the Holocaust. They stole these people. They stole these people's ancestral lands. They were still cattle. Their main source of income. They would take their children, separate their families, rape their women. And finally, when the German Empire was destroyed in 1919, a lot of those men, especially the ones that were serving in the military, and this is another little, argument you'll hear somehow a black, Nazi apologist will say, well, there were black Nazis. They seem to be treated very, very well. Did you not see the picture? Well, blacks served in the Confederacy too. Their master would make them fight and take up arms to fight them, to take up arms to fight for uh, their institution of slavery. So this is the same concept. Fighting for the Nazi Party was the equivalent of fighting for the Confederate Army. All it ceased to say was you were their property and they could do whatever they wanted you to. And again, when their empire was over in 1919 and the Treaty of Versailles was signed, those black soldiers were forced to move to Germany to what? Protect the German self-interest. Oh, okay. Well, let's move on a little bit into the rise of this Nazi party. Because again, Hitler was so open-minded. He really knew what was going on in the world. He knew it. He had the secret, right? Well, let's talk about a little bit about what Nazis truly believed. Blacks were often used as tools for German propaganda, more notably against the U.S. in terms of them basically playing up race relations in the U.S., which were bad at the time. But they were no better in Nazi Germany, and we'll get to that in just a second. But they would play that card and say, why would you fight for this army? Why would you support this? And they would use them also in propaganda against Jews, anti-Semitic, advertisements and propaganda as well, because there was a law that prevented a lot of, we'll get into more of that in just a minute. Hold on. Let's talk about that in just a minute. And this is a quote coming from Mein Kampf. This is, you would call this the magnum opus, the key writings here of that of one Adolf Hitler. This is what he actually wrote. Now, this is more important than what people post on the internet, because this is what he actually wrote. This is what's real. This is what's published. You can find this anywhere. You cannot find that quote in anything he ever wrote or anything he ever shared with the world. That is the difference. This is why this is important. This is why you put this in context. And anybody else trying to tell you something different, they're leading you down the wrong path. I can't have that. I cannot sleep at night knowing that people put this false bullshit out here. The nerd in me that's read books and really got down behind closed doors and went in and did the research, went to the library by myself just to read these books, I will not stand for it. Sorry, my inner nerd won't let me do it. My inner historian that I would be in another life will not allow this to happen. So let me get to this quote. He goes, "It was and it is the Jews who bring the Negro." So he's already established that there's a difference between you and the Jew. I don't see anything about black Jew just yet. Let's keep going. It was and it is the Jews who bring the Negroes into the Rhineland, always with the same secret thought and clear aim of ruining the hated white race by the necessarily resulting bastardization, throwing it down from its cultural and political height, and himself rising to be its master. And this is coming from Mein Kampf, his actual book that he wrote. I'm talking to Adolf Hitler, not some bullshit quote you just found off the internet and decided to post on your Facebook page, because it makes you look woke. It makes you feel conscious. I won't have that fake shit. That's fake consciousness. You're not woke. That's why woke is a misnomer. Why were you asleep? A lot of times it was done by choice. Believe me, we are fully aware of what's going on. The question is, are we going to respond to it, and how are we responding to it? Posting fake bullshit like this? No. You're not woke, bro. Or sis. You're not woke. And again, I'm not here to argue. If you really truly believe in your identity and say that you're an Israelite, I'm not here to argue with you the validity of that. But I'm not going to say that he is your source or one of your sources of evidence. I won't have that. Not with where he stood. Not with a quote like that. Nazis believed that they were atop of a racial hierarchy, the Aryan master race. There was no sublet that said black Jews are okay and they actually should be protected by us. That was never stated. Was there ever a group of soldiers or a special force that Hitler trained specifically to fight blacks or fight the racism going on in the U.S.? No, no. But that's what somebody who would write, who would who would of course make a quote like y'all claim he did would do, but he didn't. He didn't. He sat back and watched what was happening. Matter of fact, he was truly inspired by what happened to do stuff like, well, sterilize black men, to break up black and mixed families. Let's talk about the Nuremberg race laws for a second. 1935, the Nuremberg laws were passed in which this stripped all non-whites of citizenship. Very few blacks were ever granted citizenship to begin with, but on their passport they were designated as stateless Negroes. Did it say Jew in there? Did it say Jewish? Did it say Hebrew in there? No, it just said stateless Negro. In 1941, black children were forced out of public schools and were also denied university access and professional training. This was all documented, has been documented in post-war compensation claims, which have been paid out in the millions. Now, blacks would avoid the massive death camps, but again, history shows us that they didn't avoid the concentration camps and the forced labor camps. Oh, because they were denied employment as well, except if it was for, again, free labor and to be used in propaganda, pro-Nazi propaganda. And let's talk about the sterilization again. Let's go back to the sterilization because, again, we were Jews, right? Now, because of the Nazi concern of racial pollution, because, again, the Nazi party is about one thing. You got to remember, one of their biggest things is that they believe they were entitled to supplant or destroy other nations and people to advance German biological supremacy. Remember that. They believed the Third Reich, meaning what Hitler's group, what his faction and his fascism movement was, it was entitled to supplant or destroy other nations to advance German biological supremacy. But we were the jewels, right? We were snatched up by America. We were God's chosen people. He's supposed to protect us, right? Let me get the black Germans aren't the same. They don't deserve to not be, to be murdered and rounded up and locked up in jail, because they not the American black, right? They not the quote unquote Jew, right? The Israelite, right? So what happened to them was, hey, fuck it. Well, he said that we was cool, we was the Jews, so that means something, right? Okay, y'all go ahead and y'all believe that. Y'all believe that, okay? When these neo-Nazi parties that were started being formed in 1960 in this country to take these same ideals, Aryan supremacy, not black Jews are okay. No. Again, when have they ever joined any type of rally for a black cause? I've never seen a neo-Nazi there. Oh, but they recognize you as the real Jews, right? They on the same par with Hitler. Y'all they got a secret message, right? There's a secret language, right? Terrorism. Not only is terrorism carried out by these groups, domestic terrorism on our home front, but local and state governments allow them to form militias. They're arming up. They're armed to the teeth right now, practicing and shooting guns. Why? Why do you think they're doing that? To shoot you. But you're the jewel, right? Because that's what Hitler said. But his own group, the groups that are inspired by him, want to kill you. How does that work? How do y'all come up with these? No, I get it. later, I said I'm not gonna get into whether or not we chosen in the Hebrew and all that. I'm gonna get to it later because a lot of that comes from we not knowing a whole lot and we trying to jump on any little thing that sound good and kind of fits together to certain narratives. I'm starting to see that, and I'm gonna have to knock a lot of that out. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to just say it right here. Because if we riding with Hitler, we got a problem. I feel like we one Trump presidency, one Trump term away from saying slavery was a good thing. It can't happen on my watch. But let's talk a little bit more before I let you go about these neo-Nazi groups. Kind of put it in your head what's going on. Groups such as the Base, ran by Renolo Rosario, out of Russia right now because he's been kicked out of his own country because shit is getting hot for him. Because he's a terrorist now. That's how the FBI sees them now. But again, you think they got your back, right? Because they follow Hitler, right? Whatever. Confuse people. That's what I call it. They are cited by the FBI as a racially motivated, violent extremist group that seeks to accelerate the downfall of the U.S. government. And some people may feel whatever about the U.S. government. Sometimes I don't like what the U.S. government is all about, but whatever. They want to incite a race war and they want to establish a white ethno state. Where in that does it say black Jews are protected? I just want to know. No? Nothing. Okay. Well, anyways, y'all, I just wanted to break down this quote and break down how retarded it is and how retarded certain people look when they post. Let's just call it like it. I know people ain't gonna want to hear it like that, but come on now. We smart. We are way better than that. We are way better than to be using fake Hitler quotes. Come on now. We got to do better. Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna leave my links available for you guys. You know what it is. This is your man El Jamal. Of course, this has been my very first segment of I'm gonna blow this shit up, aka Black Myth